Hi everyone, this is Lisa Cronin from It's Little Things in Card Making, and I thought I would make a video explaining snipability and how I do it. Um, Snipability is on a die. Now, when I saw this die, Nicole Spohr did a video and she used this die and she made a couple of cards and they came out great, a beautiful job. But when I saw this, I had to have it, because I know that a lot, not all, but a lot of Hero Arts dies have snipability. Years ago, more companies did it. The ones that I can remember are Tattered Lace and also Tonic. And those are companies that are in England. And a lot of their dies had snipability. Now, snipability on a die is good for the manufacturer financially, and it's also good for the consumer. If you compare snipability on a die, on say a Hero Arts die, to colorize, which is Sisik's, Tim Holtz, layable dies. In on a colorized die, they have marks. When you die cut something, there are little marks that tell you where you layer other things on top of it. Now, the things that you layer on top of, say, your base, what you're colorizing, that's on a separate die. So they have to make so now they make a separate die to get all those little pieces to go on top of a colorized cut, base cut. Here, they don't do that. Here, what they do is they give you the whole image, and they give you snipability, so they don't give you a separate handle or a separate latch, or they don't do that. What they do is they make it so that you can snip the pieces off a second or a third piece of cardstock, which is saving them money and saving us money, because obviously the smaller the dies or the less dies in a set, the less expensive. So it really is a great way of using your dies in a different way, getting the most out of them, getting different looks, and for me it's a lot of fun. And it may be a lot of fun because I'm one of those micro thinkers, and I love intricacies, and I love inlaying, and yeah. So if you're like me, you will probably enjoy this video. If you're not like me, well, bear with me, please. Okay, so what I've done is I took my die and I cut my bases, and it's just regular cardstock. And what I try to do is whatever I'm going to be using as a base or for snipability, I try to get it to be the same weight, paper weight. So if this is 85 pounds, this is 85 pounds. And the reason for that is because when you dye something out of thicker paper, you're going to get a smaller image than if you dye something out of thinner paper. And the reason for that, excuse me, and the reason for that is when the die presses down, when it presses down onto the paper to cut it, it takes some of the top part of the paper and it rounds it. So the thicker the paper is, the bigger the round, the more of the face it's going to take. And again, minuscule, I know, but if you're trying to put thinner paper and you're trying to inlay it into a paper that's thicker, it's not going to sit right. It's going to be a little smaller. So the thinner the paper, the smaller the cut, the thicker the paper on the same die. The thicker the paper, the smaller the cut, the thinner the paper, the larger the cut. I hope that makes sense. And I think that that's important, especially if you're going to be doing any kind of inlaying. Very important. Now, because these snippable parts are so tiny, I mean, they're little, but at the same time, they're easy to cut. And there's a couple of ways that you can cut them. I use double stick tape on the back, especially if I'm using foil. Anytime I use foil, I try to use double stick tape, because with foil, it's very hard if you get glue on it. If it doesn't cut out completely, you can bend it. And what I'm using here is, I'm using Tim Holtz's metallic ideology craft cardstock. And this isn't actually foil paper. This is craft paper, and this is like painted on. So it's not really foil, which is good. However, it can stain like foil or give you marks like foil when you get glue on it. So anytime I have to use any kind of foil, I try to use double-sided tape, especially with pieces that are this thin. So now we're going to concentrate on, well, let's do a small one first. Let's do this one. I am going to, I don't have that one. Okay, I have this one. So let's do this one. So they're exactly the same. And I use this. Now this is a tool. It's literally a carpenter's tool. Not expensive. I really think it's much more cost effective. I also have these, and I love them, and they're safe and nice to handle. However, when it goes dull, they're not really very useful for cutting. And I use them for other things, picking up die cuts and that kind of thing. So, I mean, I do keep them and I do use them after they dull out, but they're a little more expensive. Now with these, and I've used this a bit, you could see there's lines in there. See the lines? Okay. So when I use it, I don't really stick the whole thing out, just a little bit. And when this goes dull, when it stops cutting easily, there's a back part. And it's like a little clip on the back. Now, before you take this off, because you want to take this off to snip, again, snipability, to snip the top part, always close it and lock it. And locking it is just pushing this piece down. Because when you try to take this off, if you slip and the blade is out, it's, you know, you're gonna hurt yourself. But what you do is you just disconnect it, and now you have something to snip a new cutting piece. And what we're going to do is we're going, and I don't know if I could do it while I'm videotaping, but I'm going to take, there's a little slot in here, like a little, you see, little slot. And what you do is you put that piece in the little slot and you snap it. And now you've snapped off that old piece that's no longer cutting well. You're going to throw that in the trash. And now you have another piece to start cutting. And that piece is as sharp as any craft knife. And look how many times I can do it. I mean, I don't have a new one to show you right here, but I could do it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's like 8 new craft knives in this one piece. And I feel that it's more cost effective. It works just as well. And then what you do is you put the back on it, because you need that for when this goes dull again, and I'm going to lock it. When this goes dull again, you cut a piece off. So, okay, so this is what I like to use. Now I'm going to show you this piece up close. And I'm going to show you this piece up close. And they're the same cut, just different paper. Now, what they've done is they've given you all these different shapes, but they've also pretty much cut it out except for a tiny connection. And that's all you have to cut is the connection. So let me show you. So I wish I can go closer. I don't know if I can. I'm going to try. Oh, yeah, yay. Okay. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to, let's see, I think I'm going to take off this rivet piece right here. So this piece right here, I'm going to snip it and snip it. And all I'm doing is I'm just cutting off where they left off. So they had their marks up until that point, and all I did was make one little snip with my knife, and now it's connected here by only a couple little snips. So what I do is I kind of take it, and it's only one or two little snips, and it very easily comes away. Now I'm going to do the same thing to the bottom part of that. I'm using a different device for this video, so I'm really hoping this is better than the last video I put out as far as you being able to see. Okay, so I snipped those two pieces, and now I'm going to snip along there. And you can see, and I wasn't putting any pressure, I was just going along that line. And now we have this beautifully cut, not by me, but beautifully cut by the die. And I'm going to take off my double-sided paper. A little shaky. Okay. And now I am going to lay it on, right on top of that black one. And I already have, you know, my adhesive there because I use double-sided tape. And I am just going to put that right on top of that same design that was there. So that's piece number one. Piece number two are going to be these little locks here. And what I'm going to do, and you can see, well, actually, I'm hoping you can see. Maybe you can see it better on the black. It's not so reflective. Okay. So you can see that they're pretty much all cut out except for like right there and right there and right there and right there. So it's 4 little snippable marks that I have to make on this here. And I'm just going to kind of like follow that line, press down, and oh, also I'm using my self-healing mat, cutting mat. So that's helpful. And I'm just cutting through those connections. That's all I'm doing. And then this should come right out. And if it cut through properly, it did. I should only get the die cut, not the double-sided tape. And then I will take that suitcase and I will put that where it belongs. So it tells you kind of tells you where to put it. And it fits in perfectly. Now, I'm not inlaying. These pieces are so small, I don't want to inlay. And I could very easily, well, I'm not going to say very easily, that wouldn't be the truth. I mean, it takes a little bit more work, and I'm not up to the challenge right now. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing with the other one, just cutting those little snips off, those little connections. Now you could do this with a scissor. I'm not really good at fussy cutting, so that's not something that I would do. But if it was a bigger piece, maybe I would. And then I'm gonna lift it. And put it down. As you can tell, there's even snipability inside. Like, you know, like when you put your, when you close your valise or whatever, you know, and you lift it up, well, there's snipability even inside of that. So this could be a different color than this, but I don't want to do that. Okay. Put a little bit of something right there, and it's bothering me. It's gonna have to be good enough. And now we have this to do. So that's pretty much all cut. I am going to cut it right here. And then the other side. And I'm not really like slicing. I'm more just like going down. Just kind of like making those small little marks. And let's see if there was anything else I needed to snip. If it doesn't come off right away. Well, that looks good. And that looks good. And I'm gonna snip right here. Sometimes foil paper, you have to be careful because, well, not be careful, but for me, sometimes foil paper, reflection can kind of blind you a little bit. And then you wonder, oh gosh, what am I doing? Am I doing the right thing? Just have to be a little patient. So that whole thing came out very nicely. And now I am just going to put it exactly where I should. Now this is a great example of snipability because all of these things on a real piece of luggage would be not inlaid. They would be laying on top. And that kind of gave it a big difference. So it looked similar to this. And now it looks like that. Isn't that cool? I love that. Should we do another one? Now you're gonna say, but Lisa, aren't you wasting? Maybe. Yeah, I guess in a way I kind of am. But I think it's worth it. You could try using this as a base and cutting out another piece and then using that other piece and then inlaying. But that, I don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze on that because truly that's a big squeeze. So are you wasting? Yeah, maybe a little bit you are. And that's something that you have to decide whether or not you think it's worth it. I will probably end up tossing that. I really I love this big one. I want to do this big one. I'm gonna do it. Okay, let me just kind of clear my area here. Now I think I'm gonna do the bigger pieces first. I think that's what I'm gonna do. The bigger pieces first. And there's a lot of connections here. You have to decide what you want to keep. Like, take this for instance. You have to decide what you want to keep for your design as you're putting things on top of your die cut. Do you want to keep this because you could snip that away? Do you want these two to stay together? I mean, that kind of makes sense to me. But then, and this kind of makes sense to me, but then to use these bigger pieces, like here, the strap, well, the strap wouldn't really be made out of metal. I think I would leave it black, or I would even cut another one, which I don't have. Should I cut another one? Maybe I should. What color should I cut it? Oh, you know what? We'll cut this. I'm going to take my die. This is the one I'm cutting out here. And really, I'm not going to put any double-sided tape because I'm only going to be using it for the straps. And I think I will probably place them down first. If I'm going to do a job, I might as well do a right job, a good job. So, okay. All right. So here's my piece. And you can see all those lovely little marks. Now, to cut, I think I'm gonna do this first. And this I'll use glue on. I have no problem with that. But I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna cut it here. And here. And here. And here. And then I'm going to cut it here, straight down, and here. And I'm going to separate it. See, I'm separating it because I want to put it right onto the luggage. And this should be a different color than the straps. So I'm going to, don't mind the noise, my neighbor's son. He's having friends over, which is nice. Okay, so that's gonna go there. Now all I have to do is separate the straps by just cutting those two little pieces. And I mean, it's done for you already. The die already did most of the cutting. So normally we would have extra dies to make these straps and we'd have to cut those out. And, you know, by doing it this way, it really is cheaper. I mean, it's cheaper for everybody, really. Okay. I cannot find my tweezer right now. So they're having a good time. I hope you don't mind. Okay. So I'm gonna put it down with some glue. And that's probably too much glue. Where'd it go? Where'd my cap go? Found it. Found it. Okay. So now I'm going to take one of the straps. Wipe a little off because there's a lot on there. And then I'm going to just place it where the die tells me to place it. And in this way, it's very similar to colorizing. My other piece is here. And I'm kind of spreading out the glue a little bit because I don't want it to spread too much when I press it down. Let's see. It's a little hot in this room, so this glue is drying kind of quickly. It's cooler here, but still hot in the room. All right, then we have these two pieces here. And this is the way it goes. And this goes here. I'm going to pick them up so they're even with the suitcase, the black part of the suitcase. So now we have our straps. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the little latches that are holding the straps, cut them off. Put them where they belong. Okay. And all I did was cut those two little connecting pieces. Obviously not as good as I should have. And lay them down where I'm told to lay them down. This piece is, I don't know why, I got really excited about this piece here. And thought it'd be, I don't know, it kind of makes it. It makes the whole thing. I got kind of excited about all of these pieces actually. And again, try to get it into position before you lay it down. And it's just so cool. I mean, this is right up my alley. And I love doing stuff like this. You're gonna take something plain and you're gonna turn it into something extraordinary. I love that. That's why I like the colorized dies too. I wish more companies would come out with this snipability because it can make such a big difference in how something looks. Now I'm going to take this piece here. It looks like I need to cut like right in here, this tiny piece. And this will also have a metal top. And then just cut these pieces here. I get lost when I do stuff like this. Like I love doing inlay. I love doing anything that's really intricate and detailed. I don't know, it just for me makes such a big difference, which is one of the reasons why I named my channel. It's the little things in card making because I love doing the little things. All right, so I'm gonna start this here and here. And you can see where you need to snip because the whole thing was cut except for those areas. Gee, what a time to do a video. Well, I'm not stopping now because, yeah, been on for a while. And I'm looking, I think they're both the same on both sides, top and bottom. Now, I have to decide what I want to do here. Do I want to make separate pieces? Do I want to... I'm doing the whole thing. I'm not going to make separate pieces. Actually, this should be one color. This should be the same color as this, which is the silver. But this may be different, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to put the whole thing in. So I'm going to take a look at the die. Cut where there is no cut. And I don't see anybody doing this anymore. And I think that's such a shame because it just adds so much to an image. I mean, there are some that are very, very detailed. I'm gonna put this here. Get those little paper hairs off. He's a good kid next door, he really is. I know it sounds like, what are they doing out there? All right. And then the same thing for the other side. And again, I'm not really cutting, I'm just kind of like sticking the blade in where there's that connection. So it goes here. Let's see. Okay, I obviously missed a spot. Now I'm just hoping, since they're being a little loud, that they really, oh, there's Papa. Settle down, did you hear him? Okay. All right, now, let's see. This whole thing will come out. I don't see any snippable lines, but there is. Yeah, I do see them right here. And then over here. How does it look now? It's getting there. Put it on. We could even take those little round circles out and maybe put some, look at that. Isn't that the coolest thing? I love this. Isn't that the coolest thing? It looks great. I think it looks great. What do you think? I think it looks great. Okay, so that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to show you a little bit of snipability, how something can go from one thing to something else that's really extraordinary. And again, you can cut out these circles. There are so many other things that you can do. I mean, not a lot, because pieces are tiny and we all have our limits, but man, I'm telling you, I fell in love with this set. So anyway, that's my lesson on its, snipability, and it's little things in card making. And yeah, this is a lot of fun. So check out the dies you have. Look and see what has the potential to be snippable. And again, snippable, not cutting. You're not really cutting. You're just looking for where the lines stop and start again. And as I said, Hero Arts is one of the few companies that still do it. And I'm really glad that they do, because otherwise all of these pieces that I placed on here would have been a separate die, which would have meant it was a bigger set, which would have meant it was more money for not just Hero Arts, but for us as well. So really very glad I did this video. I hope I inspired you to check out your stash. I really hope that you can appreciate my mind and the way it works, and hopefully yours works a little bit like mine too. And thank you for stopping in. I hope to make more videos more often. And until then, please remember, stay well, stay safe. And remember, it's the little things in card making. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I don't think YouTube thinks I'm even making videos anymore. So let them know I'm still around. And if you think I'm doing good, let them know. All right, thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye for now.